My old friend, Raymond Teague's going to be in studio with us for 30 minutes. Then at the bottom of the next hour, I will get to all the big news I haven't covered yet. Trayvon supporters threaten riots, looting if Zimmerman acquitted. That story is going viral up on Infowars.com. Here's another one. All he did was love me. Heartbreaking moment. Police shoot and kill dog that was defending owner when officers arrested him for filming them. Here's another one. The TSA is now going to add dogs, but not so much for bombs, for drugs. This is all just getting you ready for internal prison training. Is Homeland Security set to arm TSA agents? And they're already arming some. Paul answers the question in the article. And they're training the TSA right next to the military. This is again, first you roll out with an innocuous national security force Obama promised, and then they become armed, like the armed SS. The Stunstaffel, I believe it was called. So we'll be going over some of that. That is just some of what we'll be breaking down today. And Raymond Teague, my buddy, came by last week, and he didn't say, hey, this is really off record. He said, this stuff isn't really classified. And so I talked about some of it later. He's like, hey, I'm not really comfortable about that. So when we come back, we'll get into NASA, but we'll also get into the whole NSA thing from the Snowden perspective, because Raymond worked in different classified federal agencies, starting out with Air Force Intelligence, NASA, Mission Control. We'll show you photos. We dug up photos online of you, Raymond. You didn't know that. So Raymond Teague's here. We're going to be talking to him after the break in studio. And, as I said, we'll get to all these other big top stories that I just mentioned that are up on Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. But I got so upset last hour watching our power plants, our industries, our jobs shut down on record. And here's Obama saying you shouldn't be able to have a nice standard of living when these globalists are just transferring it to them. They want to make us poor to control us and wrote white papers saying it. And they get people to get in to being poor, into having nothing, into having no rights. And forget just monetary wealth. No dignity, no Fourth Amendment, no First Amendment, no Second Amendment, no 10th Amendment, no Ninth Amendment. And all over the world, the same continuity of agenda. And the globalists dividing and conquering us on every front. And then I'll also get it into with Raymond. State Department Memorandum 7277. In fact, we can foreshadow some of this. Russian forces to provide security at U.S. events. Ladies and gentlemen, we sent Rob Dew and Jason Douglas, two of our reporters, through an affiliate and got press passes 4 years ago, I guess 3 years ago. We have video of this, with Polish troops training to confiscate Americans' guns and to put us in sports stadiums. I mean, it's just over the top. People watch the video and it admits it, but they're still like, well, it isn't that bad. It's just this complete acclamation. So we're going to be going over all of that with Raymond Teague. I appreciate coming in to studio with us today. And Raymond, we're about to go to break. So let me just ask you this, because you just got here right on time before you're supposed to go on air. You said you are comfortable talking about the mission control stuff, right? You are?
Yes.
Okay, so we can talk about that.
Yes.
Because people always want to know if the moon landings happened. And you're bigger than Dallas for right there and a main guy on mission control, so you can talk about it.
Well, I'm far from being a main guy. I was one of the workers, and I did the best I could with what my duties were.
But you were a main mission control guy, front line running it.
Yes.
You were in the front row.
Well, that doesn't mean anything. I just another chair as far as a position. What is important is the duties you had. For every guy you saw in mission control, there was a whole room full of people supporting you that you were in contact with.
But I mean, you got a presidential medal, and you were the A-team guy. You were the guy you had a whole room supporting you. You were in frontline mission control, Raymond. Just toot your horn.
Yeah, well.
Stay there. We'll be right back with Raymond Teague. Because there's a war on for your mind. That has been our motto here at InfoWars for my 18 years of battle against the globalist. And now we see the open announcements of global, private, corporate tyranny over our governments. That's what the New World Order is an unaccountable private combine of organized crime engaged in corporate takeovers of nation states. And the conscious attempt to abolish basic rights and fundamental liberties. Infowars.com is not just leading the charge against this here in the U.S. or North America. We are leading the charge worldwide. And that's because our listeners, our viewers, our supporters, fellow freedom lovers like you across the planet resonate with our message of liberty and telling it like it is. And that's why for the last 2 years especially, I have thrown everything I've got, my time, my energy, our backup capital, everything into really trying to awaken the sleeping giant that is humanity. And that's why the July issue that just came in a few days ago is so important. We've already sold about half the stock we have of it at cost in groups of 10 up to 100 in bulk. It covers the entire NSA spy grid, how it ties in worldwide, how it's not about stopping terrorists, but about suppressing and dominating and controlling the free press and political opposition. And in this magazine, we don't just have 3 free bumper stickers like I did a few months ago. We have 10 bumper stickers, 4 full-size ones with amazing messages guaranteed to get people thinking like America has been occupied by globalist forces. Infowars.com. Listen to Alex Jones at Infowars.com. Infowars.com. Forbidden information. Listen to Alex Jones. Infowars.com. And then on top of it, 6 medium-sized bumper stickers with the message as well. These are key to post in legal and lawful areas on your book bag, your computer, your car, or to give friends and family. I have printed 500,000 of these bumper stickers. Only half of this month's run of magazines has them. So when you purchase them in bulk or you're a 12-month subscriber, you will get the special issue. And I can't afford to do this every month, so it's going to be quite a while until we do this again. Please take advantage of this. Buy them in bulk and give them to your friends and family and encourage them to get these bumper stickers out, because with 500,000 stickers, we can reach tens of millions of people with the message of truth. They want to collectivize us. They want to bankrupt us. They want to drive us into their arms to control us. They want to dumb us down. But the sleeping giant that is free humanity is awakening. So I want to thank you all for your support. I want to encourage everybody to go to InfoWarsStore.com and to get a 12-month subscription or to give a gift subscription. Imagine 12 of these coming to your friends or family's door to wake them up. Or to give a gift subscription to the local police department or your local congressman or woman. This is how we're going to affect change, voting with our dollars and voting with our time. Again, visit InfoWarsStore.com today to subscribe, to get the magazine in bulk, or to give a gift subscription, or to give yourself a subscription to wake up friends and family. I am all in. I am committed 110% to not mince words and to not back off and to boldly confront the globalist. And our listeners and supporters, our info warriors, who aren't behind us, they're right beside us. So I want to thank all of you that have supported us in the past, and I want to encourage all of you out there who may be on the fence, that know this information is true, but have been scared to take action. You had better be scared of not taking action and letting this monstrous system come to fruition. Now is the time to commit. Now is the time to say which side of history you're on. Now is the time to stand against the globalist and the New World Order. And regardless of whether you get this July issue, this July 4th Resistance to Tyrants issue, spread the word about liberty, resist corruption in your area. Millions of us doing little things can move mountains together. I'm Alex Jones signing off for Infowars.com and the Infowars team. Russian forces to provide security at U.S. events. You can't make that up. That's a FEMA press release with photos. They're very proud of themselves. What's wrong with Russian troops with guns at security events? You're a traitor if you don't salute the New World Order. I'm going to break down at the bottom of the hour what this is really all about. And because believe me, I've done more studying on this than anybody outside the globalist operation. Okay, I've interviewed all the experts. I know the total plan because, by the way, I took the time out to read it. It's all public. We're going to break down 7277 State Department memorandum for you today. The State Department memorandums, folks, are the real policy of this government. The policy is sell us out to the New World Order. Is Homeland Security set to arm TSA agents? That's at Infowars.com. They will seize your food and resources. Hoarding of just about anything can be banned. That's the headline. All he did was love me, heartbreaking moment, police shoot and kill dog that was defending owner, then officers arrest him for filming them. Unbelievable. We're going to get into the Trayvon Martin news, where thousands of people are on Twitter saying they're going to rob, kill, you name it. Trayvon supporters threaten riots, looting of Zimmerman acquitted. This is the exact type of divide and conquer the White House has tried to hype. Justice Department's been caught in there trying to hype this up as a political diversion of racial division. So we're going to be breaking all of that down as well at the bottom of the hour. But joining us until the bottom of the hour is my old friend Raymond Teague. He even worked for me off and on for a few years in TV production because he worked for RCA with the space shuttle cameras. And before that, he was in Vietnam in classified operations, and he was in Air Force intelligence and classified operations, and was in Air Force intelligence for a while before he went into some other agencies he can't talk about. And then he worked in of course, NASA. Before that, in the Apollo program, and we've got some photos of him in mission control as one of the A-line guys. There's Raymond. There's Raymond Teague right there on the Apollo programs. Weren't you involved in Apollo 13 too, buddy?
Yes, I was. Apollo 13 occurred at the end of my shift for that particular day, and I was in the last hour of my shift for a changeover, and I stayed through the next shift along with everybody else, but I was requested, my boss told me to call everybody in, so I called all three of the other two shifts in, and that was rather strange. They all demanded, well, what do you want me to come in for? Well, I'm not allowed to tell you, but just get ready and get in here as quick as you can. What they were told, and they did. And so we had everybody on board to help study the problems.
We're going to look at the moon landings and really get a real inside take here. In fact, this may go longer than 30 minutes. I said I've got to get to this other news. But, Raymond, first off, you want to talk about Snowden. Give people your breakdown, where you've worked, what you've done that you can talk about so people understand that you speak from experience.
Well, as far as Snowden goes, I think Snowden, there's must be more to it than we see, because I don't know what Snowden has revealed other than it was fairly well known as far as what Snowden said, that we were looking at all the data. The NSA was looking at the world's data. Well, that's what all intelligence agencies do. Every country, as a modern country, has an intelligence agency.
Snowden said that bears go poop in the woods?
And you can expect everything to be looked at. So what? So what's the big deal? I don't know. I am surprised. If they really I think that if they really wanted Snowden out of the picture, they would have immediately killed him like they have others. So even if he's hiding in the Moscow airport, that doesn't mean he's assassination proof. Anybody could come by and shoot him or whatever, or give him an injection, and he'd be gone.
That's right. They've got those poison ice darts. Is common.
Many different ways to.
They shoot you with a little ice dart that's got cyanide in it, and boom, you're gone.
Well, ricin's become a favorite also. Anyway, I don't see what the big deal is about Snowden, other than something is going on they're covering up.
Well, I think he's real, but they're using him because he is somebody that ran to a foreign country to just scare all the other whistleblowers. And
the biggest thing it does is this. The way the communist system worked in East Germany and the communist, and half of the people were involved with the security services. And so if you said anything to the wrong person or had committed a thought crime that somebody overheard, you got thrown in the gulag or killed. And so that made you afraid to talk to anybody else. You wouldn't cooperate with anybody else to establish a new political realm or
that's how they destroyed the individual, was by naming political dissent as terrorism, as they're now doing here.
And I think this is the deal with Snowden. Now you must be you're more aware that if you say anything on the phone or you try to coordinate with anybody on the email, you might as well run it in the New York Times.
Well, that's what Pachenik called when this all broke, and he said, Alex, it's a psyop. I know General Alexander. Maybe we should get him on. But he goes, this is being done to bring all this out to create a conversation about it.
Well, it's done that.
But I don't think Snowden knows what he's doing. And then it forces us to defend him because of the free speech issues, and they're trying to persecute the press. But then it changes the subject. From a week before he came out, it was all NSA spying on the press. See, it's an issue of who they're spying on.
Yes, well, you can assume anything you say or do will be monitored.
Now, listen, I thought I could talk about what you told us in here last week, and I want to get into the NASA stuff, but since I've already said it out there, specifically, I mean, people know I don't make stuff up. What were you told when you graduated from an intelligence agency?
Oh, they tell you going in that if you get too far out of line, they may kill you.
And that was if you talk, we're going to kill you.
Essentially.
What specifically? Just
I don't remember the exact words. And
you said too, though, at the graduation, though, you were sitting around, you know, like at the final.
Well, you had a debriefing where you're not allowed to go to travel outside the country without permission for a certain length of time, and essentially not allowed to work for various people for several years.
Now, they reported the shuttle program you worked on was at least 80% secret military operations. Did you work on those?
Yes, but you're talking about payloads. Now, I didn't really have much to do with the actual payloads. The shuttle was flying, in order to launch satellites, the shuttle would carry a communication satellite up, but it would have its own rocket. In other words, when you got it up into orbit, you then set it outside the payload bay, and after getting a safe distance away from it, you would light the engine and put it into whatever orbit it was intended to be in. And that was done many times over. But there wasn't anything especially secret about it except the payloads. Yeah.
Well, I apologize if I said too much, but you said none of this is really classified. You talked about you know, the 97 hearings on the CIA, Solicitor General, and drug dealing, and you just said that it was well known in the intelligence community, watching the communiques, that it was just all over the place, correct?
Correct. And there are other things. For instance, here's a book here that I read lately, The Elite Serial Killers of Lincoln, JFK, RFK, and MLK.
Robert Galen Ross, yeah, we sell that book.
Okay, well, the most amazing thing about it is, when especially on the description of the JFK, I worked with an engineer some time ago who lived in Dallas, grew up in Dallas, knew a bunch of people on the Dallas police force, and we got into discussions over the JFK assassination up to the point where he was really afraid of me and afraid to say anything else. And this was many years after the assassination, and he was still afraid to talk about it.
Oh, I was on an airplane with a well-known lawyer. I'll just leave it at that, buddies with the Bushes. And he was just, this is flying back from Dallas when I flew in from London, and he was just like going a course. I grew up with my ranch next door to the lawyer that was running the whole thing. I mean, it's just in Dallas, it's well known. I mean, it's only an idiot knows they didn't kill Kennedy.
Well, and the book explains the frightening thing about our whole country, our whole system, is we have sunk in morality to the point where you can have most of the government officials of a city and of a state and of a nation in on an assassination, and that's viewed as all right. That's a normal course of doing business.
What do you think about Hastings, Michael Hastings of the Rolling Stone?
Well, I didn't know his work or him or anything about him. And yes, I believe, just like this one that got killed in Houston that was assassinated, he was, I didn't know him either, but yeah, that's an example of.
Well, nowadays they just blow your car up, and then the wives come out through his friends and tweets and things, and I've talked to his army buddy, and they believe he was killed. They want an investigation. You'd think that would be news.
Well, when you have something like Pat Tillman go on, and many other examples somewhat similar to that, how can we do anything as a nation anymore? There's nobody to turn to. There's nobody that has an overall power to set things right, to make a moral judgment, to provide moral leadership. Apparently. And
then once you reach that point, though, it only gets worse in history. Because once it's the rule of the thug, once it's the rule of assassination death squads, it's over. They'll take everything. And even if the dons that are in place now won't do it, They will be replaced by people that want to do it. The worst of the worst then take over.
Well, there's no end of the greed. In other words, in football and everything else, nothing is ever good enough. It's part of our big problems. We don't have enough money. We don't have enough of a house. We don't have enough of anything. This is the general attitude in the public. And so they're willing to sell themselves to get more, always get more, because they...
And in truth, they're going to lose everything because they sold out.
That's right.
We'll be right back, Raymond. Stay there. I want to get into NASA secrets straight ahead.
Now you can watch Alex Jones live at Infowars.com/show.
You'll find links to all of our content there and a free 15-day trial for Prison Planet TV.
You can also browse the network, the InfoWars Nightly News,
and over 60 movies and documentaries all together in one place.
You can watch the Alex Jones radio show live as it happens.
So check it out, Infowars.com/show.